No, thank you, guide to how food works while playing Counter Strike. For some reason, well, for the reason that I am fat and I'm trying to lose weight, I've been thinking about how food works a lot recently. I suppose, is this also the no thank you guide to losing weight? I probably shouldn't make one before I actually have lost weight because as is, I don't really know what I'm doing. So the thing about food is all food is machines. All food, everything you eat is a weird solar panel. So all energy on the earth comes from the sun, basically. Most of it. Or thermal energy, but most of that doesn't end up in your food. But it's all, just for the sake of argument, let's just say it all comes from the sun. Humans, we don't have any, we have things that we want to prioritize more than getting sunlight, right? Plants, they're optimized for getting a bunch of sunlight, right? They just sit there all day and they spread out big leaves with chlorophyll in them, and that's how you get a lot of sunlight. Humans, we're not optimized for that. For mammals, we don't do that, right? We don't have any way to do photosynthesis directly. So what we have to do is we have to get other things to do. We have machines that do photosynthesis for us, like plants. So if you eat, I don't know, some bread, what that is you've got a plant that is turning energy we can't access into energy we can access. It's turning energy from the sun into its own energy to use to reproduce, right, with seeds. And then it's we're stealing those seeds because those seeds contain starchy sugars and stuff which we do have the means to digest in our stomachs and turn into usable energy. So we get those machines to do it for us. So basically, leaves are just turning sun energy into energy that we can consume, normally types of sugars. Or leaves themselves, like cabbage or whatever, right? Same sort of thing. Or what am I thinking of? Lettuce. Let's have that turned off. So that's the leaves. But then there's a bunch of leaves. I don't know if you've noticed. There's a bunch of leaves that we as humans can't digest. Like there's loads of leaves out there. If you look outside, you go to the park, loads of trees and grass, and we can't do anything with trees and grass because it takes a lot of effort to digest and actually access the energy that's stored in like grass, right? Well, we can't do it because we spend so much energy on our brains and stuff like that we don't have enough space left over in our body. If you look at like a cow or a goat, most of their body, if you like chopped them in half and looked at them, like most of their body is like stomach and guts and stuff. Whereas we have a bunch of other shit that we have going on in our bodies, like disproportionately large brains. So we don't really have space, or we have other priorities. So we don't have the ability to digest those really difficult molecules that make biological molecules that make up grasses and tree leaves and stuff. But fortunately, there's a bunch of other animals that can do that, and those are also machines that turn grass. A cow is a machine that turns grass into milk, and milk contains proteins that we do have the capacity to digest, and like amylase and stuff. No, not amylase. Amylase is the thing in your mouth that digests stuff. Sugars turns long sugars into short sugars. I think that's what amylase does. It's an enzyme. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's a fact that I know, by the way. But yeah, something about that. So cows, chickens, they turn bits of plants that we can't eat, that we can't digest, into eggs which we can digest, or meat, that we can digest. And that's what animals do. When you eat animals, you're really eating what that animal ate, that's just been transformed into a thing that humans can eat. So I've heard the argument from vegans and actually other people as well, that like the most efficient diet is plants, because they are very efficient. They're very low on the food chain, and so they are like the bottom of the food chain. And so it's the most direct conversion of sunlight into energy. And then when you eat like, I don't know, a cow or something, that cow has expended a bunch of the energy keeping itself alive and has less energy left for you to eat. And so it's more efficient to eat. Or if you were to eat a carnivore, like if you were to eat a tiger, it would be even less efficient because, energy is expended down the line and so on. Now that seems like a legitimate argument until you realize that what I just said, which is that yes, cows are wasting energy, but they're wasting energy that humans can't use anyway. They're wasting energy which is already wasted energy from our perspective because we can't access it. So they're actually perfectly converting energy that we can't access into energy that we can access, which is, a pretty useful service. So thank you, cows. I don't know what is going on in this game of Counter-Strike right now. Someone just b-hopped it, like, into me from, like, the other team. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know why he thought that would work. But, anyway, that's the food theory. And then obviously you got other stuff like fungi, which aren't really plants or animals, or mushrooms. They're not really plants, they're not really animals, they're kind of their own thing. You should eat those. They're really delicious and good for you. Lots of vitamin D. And then there's also the thing that I was thinking about, and then coincidentally, Steve Mould, who's like an edutainment science communication YouTuber, made a video about it just as I started thinking about it, which was kind of weird. Bit of a coincidence of that. But Steve Mould, he made this video about how, like, what taste is, and yeah, I was already thinking about this. So like taste, it's not like, I kind of talked about this in my video about why we have to suffer in weird ways. Like things that taste good, you know how we say like all the things that taste good are the things that are bad for you? That's only because we have too much, we've gotten too good at making them, right? And we have too many of them. Because in a pre-agricultural, pre-industrial society, the things, and even in like an early agricultural society for most of human history and in most of the world, the things that taste good are also the things that are good for you, because good for you means contains enough calories to allow you to get up the next day and not starve to death. That's the most important thing for being a human. What you eat is that it keeps you alive, it gives you enough energy so that you can, keep continuing to exist until you reproduce. That's evolutionarily what is good for you. And the things which have the most calories, and they're very easy for us to digest, which means we don't have to expend a lot of energy digesting them, which means they're very effective foods, are carbohydrates and sugars. Also we need protein, so glutamates are the thing we taste in protein, but proteins aren't that easy to digest. They're easier than some things, but they're not super easy to digest. But if you imagine a hunter-gatherer type of person, probably would have been eating a lot of protein, so protein also would have been like a base food back then. But carbohydrates and sugars are really easy for our body to turn into energy. And they're also things that are scarce. They're seasonal, rather. They're not scarce, they're seasonal. So in the spring and summer, there was enough of it that you could get, but in the winter, plants are more scarce. Carbohydrates and sugars, there's no fruits, there's no nice carbohydrate-containing tubers and stuff, and seeds in the winter. And so it was in our best interest to really like those foods so that we get a bunch of them and store them as fat, so that when the winter came, we had enough fats to get us through the lean times. But nowadays there is no winter. Winter never comes. And so we just constantly storing up fats, and it's really fucking annoying. And I'm mad about it because I'm fat now. And so the way to lose weight is to eat less seeds and more leaves. That's what I'm doing. Fewer seeds, which means grains, wheat and rice are my main grains of choice. Bread, pasta, rice. Those are my main grains I eat. Noodles is wheat. In America, you probably eat more corn than I do. I pretty much never eat maize products. And I suppose potatoes as well, but I don't eat that many potatoes. And potatoes aren't seeds. But they're also carbohydrates. I'm sure you know that potatoes are carbohydrates. I do not have to explain this to you. Who the fuck is there really a guy just sitting in Teaspawn what is he doing? Why would he be there? I don't, anyway. So yeah, fewer seeds, more leaves, because seeds are really easy to digest and really great source of calories, whereas leaves kind of suck to digest. You need to produce certain specific enzymes to digest them, and those are quite energy intensive to produce. They require like a lot of processes to produce those enzymes. If you ever wondered why beans make you fart and like kale and cabbage make you fart, it's because your body can't produce enough enzymes to break it all down because it's really difficult and tough, and so it just goes into your lower digestive tract, and various bacteria break it down for you instead, and when they break it down they excrete gas as a waste product, which you then fart out. So that's why beans and cabbages and stuff make you fart, because your body is not very good at breaking them down because they're quite difficult to break down. I'm gonna die if I stay there. Let me pause this. And for that very reason, that they kind of suck to break down, we evolved to not like them, and because they are very often poisonous. Contrary to popular belief, here's a fun fact. I'm just full of these fun facts, aren't I? Contrary to popular belief, you're actually more like, if you went out foraging and just picked random plants, in the UK at least, it might be different in different parts of the world, I don't know, but in the UK at least, if you went out foraging and picked random plants, and you picked a bunch of greens, and you also picked a bunch of mushrooms, if you went out and picked a bunch of mushrooms and then picked a bunch of leaves, you would be more likely to die from the leaves than the mushrooms, as in, there are more poisonous plants than there are poisonous fungi in the UK at least. And we obviously, it would be bad to eat poison, and so we evolved a defense mechanism which detects poison and makes us think it's disgusting, so we spit it out. And that is called bitterness, and we taste it as bitterness, and so leafy greens, which would be the ones that are most likely to be poisonous, taste bitter to us. But those also happen to be the same plants that, when we do eat them, are really difficult to break down and not very good source of food unless you're in a time of famine. However, that sucks because, unlike our ancestors, that is exactly what we need, is a food that is very difficult to break down and doesn't contain many calories, but fills you up a lot and contains a lot of micro and macronutrients. Like, for example, I have a multivitamin pill thing. It has about 20 vitamins and minerals in it, like vitamin A, B, C, D, fucking nitrite, whatever. Oh my god, I just missed the world's easiest shot. What am I talking about? Oh yeah, so I have this multivitamin. It has about 20 different micronutrients in it, or whatever you want to call them. Micronutrients, vitamins, shit like that. I'm just gonna fucking die. It has about 20 of them. Broccoli has about 2,000 of them, is what I'm trying to say. That's the point. I'm being distracted by fucking Counter-Strike. Which I knew this was a bad idea because I knew I'd get distracted by playing Counter-Strike. So yeah, broccoli has about 2,000 micro and macronutrients. But that's what I'm trying to say. It's much more nutritious for you. So yeah, if you want to eat, if you want to lose weight, you gotta eat more leaves and fewer seeds, because seeds are really good for you and leaves are really bad for you. But losing weight is convincing your body to do stuff that is bad for you, or would be bad for you, in the context that we evolved for. But we fucked ourselves. Say it with me now. The agricultural revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. Once again, the agricultural revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. So yeah, that's the no thank you guide for how to lose weight, is just eat more leaves and fewer seeds. And as for everything else, like, fats are actually good, because so like olive oil, I'm not talking about palm oil or whatever the fuck you guys eat in America. Olive oil, you want to eat extra virgin olive oil with your salads and shit, because it lets you, there's a bunch of those micronutrients I was talking about, those 2,000 micronutrients are fat soluble. And there's a concept called bioavailability, which means, like, let's say I just ate a whole chicken right now. Only a tiny portion of that protein would actually be absorbed by my body, because your body only has the ability to break down a certain amount of a chemical at once. It can only produce so many enzymes and stuff at once, and that's bioavailability. And when you, what's the word I'm looking for? Soluble, so solutes. When something is in solution, it is easier to digest, is what I'm trying to say. When you have those fat soluble molecules and they have been dissolved into the fat, it makes your body more able to absorb those molecules. Those molecules become more bioavailable to you, which means you should put a drizzle of olive oil over your leaves, and maybe some salt, because leaves contain very little sodium and you need sodium, but also they taste disgusting without salt. Like, I'm telling you, I've been eating leaves all day today. It's all I've eaten is leaves and fish and a little bit of chicken. And let me tell you, those leaves without salt, inedible. Just the most bitter thing ever. The other thing you're going to want to do to your leaves is add some acid. Not lysergic acid, but lemon juice or vinegar or something like that. Hot sauce actually works really well, like a more vinegary hot sauce, like Tabasco, like a weaker, more vinegary hot sauce. Actually quite nice. Now the acidity, somehow, I don't know how it works, but it somehow makes the bitterness less intense when you have something acidic. So yeah, putting a bunch of acidic stuff like vinegar or lemon juice over your bitter, disgusting leaves will make them more bearable. And fats will also make them more bearable, but are also good for you. Not too much, obviously, but yeah. And you want to eat them raw. Here's the thing. You want to eat them raw, again, because it's worse for you. When you cook something, as I said before, you break down those molecules in the same way that dissolving something in a fat makes it more available to your body. When you cook something, you basically pre-digest it outside of your body. So when you cook, because what digestion is breaking down molecules into smaller parts that your body can absorb, right? That's what digestion is, and that's also what cooking is. Cooking is breaking down big molecules that we have trouble absorbing into smaller molecules that we can absorb more easily. Again, in this situation, we want to absorb few molecules but fill our stomachs up with shit that we can't digest. And so that's why you'd want to eat stuff raw if you're trying to lose weight. Not if you're trying to gain muscle. Like, if you're trying to be healthy, this won't work for you. If you want to, like, actually absorb the nutrients from your food, and you're doing a reasonable amount of exercise, going to the gym or whatever, you want to be cooking all of your food. But if you just want to be absorbing as few calories as possible while still being able to eat 3 meals a day or whatever, eating raw leaves is probably the best option for you. They have the lowest calorie density of any food, and that is what you want. So yeah, that's the no thank you guide to nutrition. Is eat leaves. And actually, I said you shouldn't eat seeds. You actually should occasionally eat beans. Beans are really good for your gut biome, your like gut biota. Beans and leafy greens, the two again, the things that I said that your body can't produce enough enzyme to break down. Those are really good for because those get eaten by the little bacteria in your gut and stuff. They happen to, well, they need food as much as you do, and so they're good for growing gut flora. Actually, a fun fact about that is that people think drinking bioactive yogurt and stuff like that is going to really help your gut flora. That is not in fact the case. All of that just passes straight through you. You want to eat foods that your gut likes, which are leafy greens and beans, the stuff that makes you fart. Because they make you fart because your gut really likes them. And so yeah, that's why you should eat beans from time to time, because you want to have a healthy gut flora, not just for general health, but it will also help you lose weight, because again, it will break down molecules that you... What the fuck just happened? I'm just hitting no-scopes like it's nobody's fucking business. I'm just trying to hit this jump over and over again, that's all I'm doing. I should stop recording. I should make a mental note that I don't play Counter-Strike while I'm trying to make videos.